Hello there, how are you doing today? Well, I hope you're doing excellent because today we are going to make some excellent rice. There is a meme going around that my husband saw, and it's basically a meme saying, what's that one food that you just can't get right? And a lot of women commented rice. Before he told me about it, he was like, "Hun, I just want to let you know I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "Why? What did I do? Thanks." And he told me about the meme and he said, "But babe, your rice is always perfect." And I was like, thank you. That's not how I said it. I want to help you guys make some rice. Just so you guys know, because there are tons of different types of rice, this specific method is for white long grain lotus rice, or just regular old rice. So of course there are a couple of things that you're going to need. A measuring cup, preferably at least a cup. You're also going to need a strainer. Get yourself a pot. Of course you want the rice, right? And lastly, seasonings. Now if you're just using sugar, then yes, you want sugar. But the main thing, of course, you're gonna want is some salt. So I want to tell you guys, there are two different methods that I have used before in cooking my rice that I'm going to show you side by side. And the first method is gonna be the regular old method. For me, every time it works like a freaking charm. So the first thing that you want to do with this process is figure out how much rice are you cooking. Here is my 1 cup of rice. So the next thing you want to do is rinse your rice off with cold water. Turn on the cold water, rinse it, mix it up to make sure everything's getting rinsed for real, you know. And you can do this for about, 15-20 seconds. But really what you want to watch for is the water down here. It's murky at first, and then it becomes clear after a while. Pour my rice into the pot that I'm using. Now, the thing to remember about rice is that you want to use 1 part rice, 1.5 part water. So I have 1 cup of rice, which means I'm going to have 1.5 cups of water. So here we are at the stove. I am going to put the heat on almost to the max. Also, what I like to do is take a little salt and sprinkle that. Of course, that'll help the water come to a boil a lot faster. But one of the things that I really love about the method that I'm showing you now is that you actually pre-season your rice. Now, you don't have to put all of the seasonings in there at once, and yes, like I said, that does include sugar. But if you put the seasonings in the water, the rice is absorbing the water. That's why they become fat and fluffy. Put my black pepper in there, a little bit of oregano leaves, garlic powder, onion powder as well. Mix all of that together. And actually what I do sometimes when I want some really well seasoned rice, I'll take my Better Than Bouillon vegetable base and take a little bit and pour it in there and stir it up so that the rice can also absorb that flavor, because this flavor be popping. We are going to bring this rice to a boil. All right, you guys, so the rice is boiling now. So we're gonna take this, right? Low temperature, okay? I like to give it I count to 10 seconds or so to give it a second to cool down, like the stove top, just a little bit so that the water isn't overflowing. So anyway, I think I've talked for about those 10 seconds now. I'm gonna stir the rice a little bit and then put the top on. The next thing I like to do is go ahead and set a timer. That way there won't be any issues. So 10-minute timer. Let's go on over to another method for cooking your rice. So for this next method, some people might think it's a little bit much or a little redundant. I don't know, I don't care. But the point is, I tried it out, and depending on how I'm feeling, if I'm in the mood, I like to do it this way. The method we are doing now is actually a Chinese method that I learned. It involves you, of course, cleaning your rice. It's done a little differently though. So with this method, you're gonna take the amount of rice you're gonna use, which I'm actually gonna use just 1/2 cup this time. I'm actually going to pour it into the pot. The next thing I'm gonna do is cover the rice with a little water. And then you're just going to massage the rice for a second. You guys see how murky that water is? What I'm gonna do is take my strainer Pour out that water. Pour the rice back in. Of course, there may be a couple left out. Pour some water on the rice yet again. Do the same thing. Massage the rice. And that's why I said it really depends on the mood I'm in. Playing in water and feeling the rice on your fingers, sometimes, you know, it can be kind of soothing. The water is still murky, but it is a little less murky than before. The other thing I wanted to say about the other rice is once you put the lid on it, unless it's about to boil over or something, absolutely do not remove that lid. Let's get the water out. Clean the rice one more time. Here is the water. Way more clear now, right? So the next thing you want to do is to take your finger, your index finger is perfectly fine. I'm gonna dip my finger into the rice and allow a piece of rice or more to get stuck on my finger. You see where that rice is? The highest point is where you want the water to go. I'm gonna keep that rice on my finger. Turn on the water. Remember the spot that's on my finger, although I kept the rice there. And I'm just gonna fill the water to that point. Boom. Now we can put this on the stove. And yes, you wanna get this to a boil too. So I'm going to turn it on high, just like the other one. And the bouillon. Here's my 10-minute timer for the first set of rice. Onion powder, black pepper, spoon to stir it all up. So I'm removing the other rice off the heat and taking off the top. A key component for the perfect rice, at least American rice, take the top off as soon as the rice is done. Otherwise it's still steaming and it's still cooking, okay? Let me put the top on this one. All right, so let's check on the rice that was finished with the normal Gordon Ramsay method that I always use. Perfect. I'm gonna take it to my husband and have him test it. I'm not gonna put you on camera, but can you taste this rice?
My rice.
His rice. I know y'all can't see jack. Oh, you might wanna blow it.
Kind of tastes like Jesus, like what he originally planned to make for the Last Supper, but he realized that a different plan needed to happen.
Wait,
but
what?
He still made something fire, but he was like, you know what? We're gonna keep it sentimental tonight.
Okay.
That's what it tastes like.
I hope y'all heard that. Back to the kitchen we go. All right, the timer for the other rice is going off, so let's check it out. So, of course, right quick, I'm about to check it. So what we're gonna do, turn off the stove. Let me mix it up. Check the texture. Perfect. So, one last step for Chinese rice. Put this cover back on. 4 to 5 minutes. Now, you might be saying, why? Because the first batch of rice, I said as soon as that rice is done, take that top off, right? But with this one, you can take it off to check the rice, but try to make that as fast as possible to leave the heat in. You want to keep that top on. Reason being is for softer rice. So if you're looking to have like sticky rice or just soft rice that is easier to mold, not that the other one can't be, but if you would like to use a mold so that your rice has a specific shape, it's much easier the stickier, the softer your rice is. So we're gonna wait 4 minutes and come back to the rice again. All right, you guys, it has been 4 minutes. So I took the top off. Let me taste it. It's steaming. Can y'all see the steam? Good. Let me take it to my husband again.
Almost like it's the kind of rice that's supposed to be kind of, I can't think of the dish right now, but the kind that kind of like, sometimes you can make it into a hill kind of thing.
It does come out as a different texture from the first rice. It all just depends on what you're going for. So that is pretty much it. And you heard what he said. He wasn't in here when I said those things, but and you can mold either of the rices, but let me put the rice into this. So I'm going to smooth it out. And what you want to do after smoothing it out is you want to push it down. Okay, I'm gonna turn this over, beat it, bada boom. I hope that this video was meaningful and that it helped you. You've got 2 different methods, 2 different textures. So have a wonderful day, and remember, the kitchen is one of the places where you can be the most creative.